Hey friends, are you ready for an adventure? I know that I am after being stuck in my house for the past several weeks. Hey, I thought it might be fun if we packed our suitcases and went around the world, visiting the homes of some people who live in houses that are quite a bit different from our own. So what do you think? Grab your suitcase and let's go. This is a world map, and I'm going to show you some of the countries that we are going to visit today. One of the first countries we're going to go to is Mexico. Then we're going to go all the way to the other side of the world and we are going to visit Japan. Then we're going to go up and to visit Syria and Mongolia. And then we're going to go back across the world to visit the country of Canada. Then we're going to cross the water again, the Atlantic Ocean, and we're going to visit the countries of Taiwan and Cambodia. Then we're going to head up to Denmark, and last but not least, we are going to end in South Africa. Thousands of years ago, people probably lived in simple shelters that were made of branches and straw. No one knows for sure because after such a long time, not much is really left of these dwellings for scientists to study. Once people didn't have to travel around all the time, though, to look for plants and animals to eat, they started to create rectangular homes made from clay bricks. The houses were built together so they didn't have to build as many walls. Adobe is Spanish for mud brick, and it also refers to the style of architecture popular in desert climates like Mexico. Homes made from adobe bricks are well suited for desert climates because they are durable, which means they are strong and they last, and their inside temperature is not affected by the hot days and the cool nights of the desert. The Japanese people are also famous for only using natural materials to build their homes. Their material of choice is all different types of wood. Their homes have mat flooring, sliding doors, and wooden verandas. You might say, well, what is a veranda? It's a porch that's attached to the outside of a building, and it's often partly enclosed by a railing, and the porch might actually extend across the front and the sides of a building. The sliding doors and verandas of Japanese homes allow them to let the outdoors inside. The walls of their homes are paper thin so that they can be moved around to create different types of rooms depending on what's going on in the house. Imagine, what if you could convert your dining room into a bedroom? One of the distinguishing characteristics of Japanese architecture is that gently curved roof that hangs over the wooden posts supporting it. Did you know that this style is closely modeled after the styles of their temples, which are called pagodas? This way, if they wanted to, they could convert their home into a temple. Well, what if you wanted to move your house from place to place? People around the world have always had tents, and we all still have them today, especially people who move around a lot, like the Native Americans used to do when they were following the buffalo. These type of people are nomads. Many nomads are in fact shepherds who are moving along with a herd from one fresh grazing ground to another. The Bedouins are a nomadic Arab people who live in tents in the desert, and they move around in search of green areas for their herds to graze. Grazing means that the herds are looking for places to eat grass and other green things. Tents come in many different shapes, colors, and sizes, depending on local traditions and uses of a tent. Another tent of sorts is called a yurt, and it is a portable, circular dwelling particular to the Mongolians living in Central Asia. Some fun facts about a yurt are that it can take 30 minutes to 3 hours to set up or take down, and that it can house anywhere from 5 to 15 people. Would your family fit inside a yurt? A wood-burning stove sits in the middle of a traditional yurt with a long chimney that reaches up through the roof. The frame of the yurt is made with a series of crisscross wooden poles, and a thick felt cover is laid over the frame and then held tightly with rope. The felt covering is made from the fur of the owner's animals. The climate where the Mongolian people herd their animals can be very windy and cold. The circular dome shape of the yurt enables it to withstand heavy winds, and the heavy felt covering that covers the yurt keeps the people inside warm. So I'm thinking about another circular dome type home called an igloo. Most people think that the Inuit people, or more commonly referred to as Eskimos, live in igloos. Did you think that? Well, it's not really quite true. For most of the year, they live in huts made of earth and turf or driftwood. But when Eskimos go off on hunting trips across the huge expanse of ice, they are often away from home for weeks at a time. To keep snug and warm and to protect themselves from giant polar bears, they build houses out of snow. The houses we call igloos. Have you ever tried to build a house out of snow? Since there is nothing else around, they carve blocks out of packed snow and they put them on top of each other to make a dome. Although the snow is freezing cold, it is possible to make the inside warm and cozy. When several Eskimos are together in their igloo and a petroleum lamp is burning, their snow house soon warms up nicely. The snow walls keep the warmth in and the freezing cold out. Have you ever wondered why igloos are dome-shaped? Well, ask your parents first, but take a raw egg and roll it across a lawn. It won't break. That's because the shape of an egg is almost, but not quite, like a ball. And the ball shape is the sturdiest shape there is. An igloo looks like half an egg, and it's just as solid. Check this out. Even a polar bear can stand on top of it. So, did you ever think you could live right on top of the water? People in Taiwan and Cambodia live in houses that are on stilts. Putting your house on stilts is a good idea in areas where the ground is wet, swampy, and muddy, or when the ground is simply not there, like in the middle of a lake or on the edge of the ocean. You have to build your house on stilts if you don't want to get your feet wet. But why do some people choose to live in a wet and swampy area when they want to keep dry in the first place? Well, one reason is that many people around the world make a living from fishing, and it makes things easier to live close to where the fish are found. Another fun way to live on the water is in a houseboat. In Amsterdam, there are a lot of houseboats because there are a lot of canals in the area that the houseboats can travel around on. Most people who live on houseboats, though, don't really travel that much. So why do they need a boat? In many areas of the world, rivers and canals are the most important roads. Many people live and work on the river, and so they need a boat. Houseboats are also a good option in crowded cities where there isn't enough space for everyone to live on the land. So have you ever wanted to decorate the outside of your house? We do sometimes at Christmas or other holidays, but the Ndebele people of South Africa are known for their artistic talent, especially with regard to their painted houses. This custom started hundreds of years ago when the Ndebele people were oppressed by another African tribe. They started painting symbols on their homes as a way to secretly communicate with one another. Today, their painted patterns and symbols on the homes are outlined in black and they are filled in with bright colors. The paintings are typically done by the Ndebele women, and it's their way to visually represent prayers, family celebrations, or to showcase their talent to people outside of their tribe. What do you think you would paint on the outside of your house if you could? Houses come in all shapes and sizes, and that's a good idea because people do too. Some houses are only in your mind or your imagination. Fantasies like that are called utopia, which more or less means into an ideal place or a house that exists only in your imagination. Do you have a house that exists in your imagination? An ideal place where you would like to live? Throughout history, people have tried to think how everything could be different. Some of those ideas have become reality. If not, we would still be living in straw huts. This is a picture of a walking city that was drawn and designed by a man back in 1960. Some people with utopian ideas have imagined cars driving over rooftops And others have imagined entire cities walking about on the move, like in this picture. How would you like to live during this time? I want you to use your imagination and think about it. There are endless possibilities.